Hello, very good morning. It is Wednesday, the 24th of July, 2024. Yet another opportunity for us to interact and be together for the next 1.5 hours on Leadership Wednesday, where we discuss and interact on matters leadership and try to dissect all issues that pertain to leadership. And of course, also look at what is it that you can do, what is it that I can do, what is it that all of us can do in one way or another to better our leadership in this particular nation. And of course, as always, we always say everything rises and falls on leadership, and therefore everything that we do, we have to see what is it that can be done to ensure that we better our leadership. Now today, of course, this is a season where the subject on the youth of this particular country, the Kenya youth, has been making headlines, has actually been shaping most of our conversations, and therefore we also want to make our contribution in this particular program and in this particular show to see what is it that can be done to ensure that the lives of our youth are enhanced, are actually improved. What are some of the ways that we as a nation, as a society can do to ensure that at least we impart on this very, very important generation and important ingredient in our society. And therefore, our subject for conversation today will be youth investment and leadership. Youth investment and leadership. What are some of the investment? Actually, the question that we are asking you is, what are some of the opportunities that you think are available for the youth as far as investment is concerned? What investment opportunities do you think are available for the Kenya youth? You can begin to talk to us and converse with us on our feedback platform, and of course we'll be glad to also see what is it that you are going to contribute on this very, very important subject. And of course, remember, we are going to have a guest in a short while who will also be in a position to tell us. Actually, today we have a guest who is an investor, and we'll be able to see how is it for him, how is it possible for him to navigate as far as investment opportunities are concerned in the country. That is something that he'll be here shortly to tell us, and of course will be in a position to understand more. What is it that maybe you as a youth, the moment you've thought about beginning to invest, what are some of the measures that you need to take? What are some of the steps that you need to follow? What are some of the issues that you need to know are there in this particular very dynamic environment that you need to put into consideration? He will be here. He is CEO, and of course we'll be able to interact with him much more and benefit from this particular talk. But before that, of course, I'm also joined by my colleague Paul Kagi. It's good to see you. A very good morning to you.
Yes, good morning. Yes, fine. We are slowly moving out of the cold season, but it is there, but yes, we are also getting used to it. Yeah, it's a fine morning, and also I want to welcome you, dear viewer, for our morning program, the Leadership Wednesday, whereby we are going to bring you, as usual, all the insights regarding to various matters, particularly in line with leadership. Once again, my name is Paul Kagi. Welcome to the Leadership Wednesday.
Of course, and in a short while, Kagi will be getting into some of the other items that have been making headlines across this particular 1 week. I know quite a lot is happening in the country. But just to remind you, our dear viewer, that you're interacting with us on 23814, 23814. And of course, you can also get us, or you can catch us on our social media pages. We are live on our Facebook page, that is MBCI TV, and we are also live on our YouTube page, that is MBCI TV Official. Kindly chip in there, make a contribution. The question is, what investment opportunities do you think are available for the Kenyan youth? And if these investment opportunities are there, then what is it that is being done, or what is it that is not being done to ensure that the Kenyan youth benefit from these opportunities? Later on, our guest will be able to help us to navigate through this particular conversation, and we'll be introducing him in a short while. But before that, Kagi, these other items that have been making the headlines.
Yes, correct. And one of the things that we are going to check this morning is regarding to what was happening yesterday. We have been experiencing some series of protests from various towns by young people. And yesterday, which was to be staged at the JKIA, but the security security agents were very keen to ensure that that place is well secured, and therefore yesterday their main strategy did not materialize due to the heavy presence of security personnel around the JKIA, and the police did a lot of job to be able to repulse the young people who are regrouping to interrupt the transport activities at JKIA. But despite that, other towns, they experienced a lot of demonstrations whereby young people were there. Most of them were targeting the county government offices, and they were up running to be able to send a strong message to the governors from our counties, whom they accuse of mismanaging the counties, or maybe they are not doing nothing within their offices. And despite that, there were destruction of properties, there were running battles between the protest and police, but at the end of the day, the police managed to control them. But the issue is, we didn't expect these protests to continue up to this time, but also there has been a lot of push and pull between the government and the young people on how to come together and iron out their issues, which has not yet materialized. And we are aware in Bomet, the president himself really was talking as if he is very much frustrated by the young people because of not giving dialogue an opportunity, even despite all the efforts to look for a way to engage the young people who are not available, right? And we hope as we go forward, maybe we are going to have a solution on to what is happening right now to be able to make our nation to move forward and to end the protests which are happening week after a week. But besides that, Mangisho, because there's another issue which was happening yesterday regarding to the reshuffle of the cabinet, and we are aware the president named 11 persons to serve in his cabinet. Yesterday he sent a memorandum to the National Assembly and received by the Speaker, who communicated the same memorandum to the members of the National Assembly, but one name was missing. The proposed name for the office of the Attorney General was missing in that list, and therefore he sent 10 names of the nominees. Again, as compared to what the President has communicated before on the position of the nominees, there was a swap between two positions, the positions of the Defense Ministry and the position of Environment Ministry, whereby the two nominees were swapped the positions. So Ipantuya is now post to sit in the Defense Office, and the former Defense CS, Aden Duale, is now posed to serve in the Ministry of Environment. And we are expecting the Parliament in the next 28 days, I think so, to vet the nominees. And yesterday there was a strong message sent by some of the members of National Assembly that vetting of these nominees is not going to be a usual business. You know what happens in the last nominees vetting, and they say that this time around they are going to do a good job. I could recall the words of Mohammed Junet, who said that they are going to interrogate these CSs, and if you are going to be found you are not worth to sit in that office, they are not going to allow you to sit in that office. We still know that there are other members of the cabinet whom we are expecting to be named by the president, and there were some rumors that he would do that maybe possibly between today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, to be able to fill other positions, which we also have information that they are expecting to pick some members from the opposition. And therefore the Parliament, National Assembly, has a great job to give Kenyans the right people for this job as per the Constitution. Right.
Yeah, that's very true, Kagi, and those are actually very pertinent issues. And just like you began with the issue of protest, Kagi, and what we realized yesterday is that though the protests were there, we might actually agree that they were not as intense as maybe the ones that we witnessed in the previous weeks, maybe last week and last week but one. However, I agree with you, there is still real need for a lot of conversation, a lot of talks, a lot of dialogue to ensure that we really don't even continue with maybe what we witnessed yesterday. Of course, yesterday we agree that the security measures were really improved, they were really enhanced, and I think this is because of the knowledge about and the knowledge about the seriousness and the seriousness of the threats that can actually be posed by this particular protest.
Yes.
But of course, Kagi, and I know that is also what will actually make part of our conversation with our guest today, in terms of also the kind of losses that I know as a country we are going through as far as businesses are concerned, investments are concerned. It is just very enormous, because you could realize that in most of the cities, in most of the major towns, so many of our businesses were closed for fear of vandalism, for fear of the goons and looting and so on and so forth. So I really don't think this is something we can continue to sustain, because now unfortunately it is like now those who are preparing these or those who are behind these, it's like now they are determined that every Tuesday they'll have an idea like this. And you see, Kagi, even if maybe they don't really make it and they don't happen to maybe achieve their goals,
right,
like maybe their goal yesterday was to occupy JKIA, but of course they were not in a position. But according to the pictures that we saw in JKIA, there was very little activity. So you can just imagine the kind of losses that such a huge international airport, the kind of loss that it can actually incur. So I think moving forward, there is really major need for us to see what is it that we can do as a country. Of course, the president, when he was in Bomet, said that he has been in a position to welcome the youth, but he did not get the positive response from them that he was in a position to get. But I think it is not maybe prudent to give up. We just see how is it that we can engage these young people, because I know there are those who are of the positive will, goodwill, and be in a position maybe to help us. Now, coming to what you've talked about, the cabinet issue, I think that caught so many Kenyans by surprise, because I think most people are still asking themselves, what is it that could have led the president to swap the two cabinet secretaries, that is Aden Duale and of course Ipan Tuya. And I don't know, maybe there could be something fishy, because according to many people, most people maybe believed that Duale did very well as far as the defense ministry is concerned. On the other hand, we could hear so many people praising Soipan Tree in the environment ministry. So I know most of the political pundits will be actually digging down to find out what could be the reasons as to why maybe the president decided to swap. There must be a very valid reason maybe leading to this. But Kagi, remember, we have the first 11. There has been talk in town that the other 11 were to come from the opposition, but apparently it is like the ODM is not yet decided. There is a part of ODM that wants cabinet secretaries from ODM to join government, but there is also another part that are hesitant, and apparently they've advised Raila Odinga not to work with President William Ruto. So I think as we move forward, it's also a very delicate balancing act, because this is a time that I think also the president needs the opposition, especially when you're having such a very hostile political environment.
Yes, and I believe that the National Assembly is very keen to clean its name. As you're aware of what happened when they were debating and passing the finance bill, the repercussions they went through, and also the wrath of the young people after passing the finance bill. I feel it is an opportunity for the members of parliament, especially for the National Assembly, to clean their names and also to prove to the public that they are independent when they will be vetting these nominees in parliament. And therefore, I think personally, I'll be keen to observe how they will be doing this. As also, I feel other Kenyans will also be keen to see how the members of parliament will be doing this. Yeah,
that's very true. And Kagi, you know, I think they're the 6 who are new. Most Kenyans maybe were not aware about them. But the good thing is that nowadays, Kagi, when your name pops up, I think there is a way in which people are very effective to find your information. The moment they were announced, there was a lot of information in the internet regarding to their academic background, their integrity background, their professional background. So I think up to now, Kenyans know even the 6 that are new, and therefore Parliament cannot maybe hoodwink Kenyans. They have to do their work very well. They have to vet them very well. They have to go through their background to find out their expertise. Because I know one of the things that majority of Kenyans will be focusing on is how suitable and the kind of expertise these nominees have for the various roles that they will be given. So it is not going to be a matter of trial and error. They have to get it right this time round.
On the issue of the CSs, I wish to mention that the way the proposed opposition's involvement with the Kenya Kwanza government, initially there was the proposal to include the whole opposition in the government, whereby one of the faction led by the Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka refused, and also Kenya leader Martha Karua refused to be enjoined with the Kenya Kwanza government, and they are very categorical. They are not ready to be joining the KK government. And this matter is what maybe has brought the issue of ODM to come in. Yeah. If the Wiper is not ready to join the Kenya Kwanza government, if the Kenya is not ready, if Ford, the Wamalwa's party is not even ready, then ODM remains as the only party which is warming up towards joining the cabinet.
Sure.
Again, the problem becomes when now the ODM leader, Raila Odinga, is ready to join the KK government. Again, many of his close allies are not ready for that. One faction is ready to join the government, one faction is not ready. I could recall the words of the Siaya governor, Orengo, who said that they are not ready to do that, and some of others, but others are ready to join the government. And therefore, we know the former premier is a man who does his things according to how he wishes them. I don't feel if Orengos, Babus are going to hook him not to do what he is intended to do. I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And of course, I think there was even a headline in one of the papers, Raila this way, Raila that way. Apparently, this time round has been very interesting because it's like making a decision or a principled decision. I think it has been a challenge for him because at one particular point he was pro-dialogue. At another point he has been on the Twitter saying that maybe a few demands have to be met before maybe they agree to work with the government. And I think maybe this one poses a lot of challenge, and maybe so many people have actually been arguing maybe that is not of the interest of the nation, but his own. But again, even the issue of bringing the CSS from the ODM side of the political divide, Kagi, I think Kenyans are also very keen to see what are even some of these names that will be proposed. Because one of the things that maybe majority of Kenyans don't want this time around is the recycling of the names that we've been used to. People want fresh ideas, fresh people that maybe have not been so much into some of these evils that we've been actually seeing across the political divide. So there is a lot of expectations from both maybe the Azimio side, the ODM side, as well as the government side, and Kenyans are actually watching this.
Yes, we can mention something interesting here. The former Speaker of the Senate is back again, who is currently the Bungoma governor. There were some allegations that Lusaka under fire for spending around 25 million shillings on county beautification. I believe that you could remember they are the ones who hosted the Madaraka Day celebrations last month, and there has been allegations they used a lot of money to make this event a success. Initially, there were allegations that they had used around 148 million shillings to plan for the event. But when he was asked about it, he confirmed that his administration spent 25 million shillings on beautification in last month's Madaraka Day celebrations. And among the areas they cited they could do is to, if I could see it, for flowers, planting ornamental trees, installing dustbins, erecting metallic sculptures, and clearing drainage. All right? So we are going to follow it up to see whether this matter is going to catch the attention of those who follow up
Yes.
on the public spending.
I think Governor Lusaka must be one of the governors that must be really followed when it comes to the issue of figures and how they are being used, because I remember also in his first term before
Yes.
Governor Wangamati, remember the issue of, was it
Wheelbarrow.
the wheelbarrow?
Yes.
That also costed, I think, some very, very mind-boggling figures. Now 25 million again for beautification. Anyway, let's hope that the Auditor General and the relevant authorities, Kagi, will be in a position to tell us how these figures were actually used.
Yes, maybe the last item,
Yes.
the Kamala Harris. Her star is shining day by day
Across the globe.
across the globe.
Yes.
And it has been very fast, very quick, and very vibrant
Yes.
within the United States of America.
Sure.
Whereby, personally, I didn't expect this to happen, and for everybody else. And God works in different ways to every man and woman on this planet.
Yeah, I think those elections, Kagi, are now the subject of the entire world in terms of making the headlines, in terms of conversation, because with the moving away or with the stepping down of President
Joe Biden.
I think it has now tilted the elections of the United States of America in a very, very broad way, and I think the entire world will be watching to see how is it that Kamala Harris will perform against Donald Trump, or what the Americans are calling the Trumpism. I think it is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Looking at how Trump has also come out, I think that is an election that is really, really going to be very competitive.
And of course, he's a bully and a abrasive competitor. Maybe the last item, the last point on this, I am admiring the democratic establishment of US. Can you imagine Mangicho, a presidential candidate? One of the things that he drops from his position is performing poorly in a presidential debate. I think their political and their democratic level is very high. That if we are having a debate among our presidential candidate and you are unable to perform well during the debate, it can push you to relinquish your position as a candidate.
Sure.
I think that is very interesting to me, right?
Yeah.
Because countries like US, not only in US, any country must be led by someone who is able to express himself and herself, who is able to articulate issues he is pushing for as the presidential candidate.
Absolutely.
If you are unable to express yourself, if you are unable to articulate what vision that you have to the people, then you are not equal to the task to lead people for the next 4 or 5 years. I think we can emulate the same with us here, that to interrogate our leaders, even from how they express their issues, away from now the integrity matters. You know, the integrity is very high. You cannot be allowed to stand for a presidency, even for the nomination, when your integrity issues are questionable.
Exactly.
But our situation here is very interesting. We only pick quickly those who integrity issues are at stake.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Kagi. And of course, you're still watching us on the Leadership Wednesday edition on this 24th of July 2024. We are so delighted to have you. Our discussion is actually focusing on youth investment and leadership. At this particular juncture, we want to introduce our guest for this particular discussion. That is Bwana Jack MUCHINA, who is the CEO, also an entrepreneur, and the CEO at the in this particular town, CJE UK Bicycles of Cars. This particular juncture, karibu sana.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Yes.
Good morning. How are you?
Morning, Kagi. Yes.
Thank you so much. We are so glad to have you today. Of course, as an investor, and so much is happening and also related to investment. But just before we start, kindly just introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Mangisho, for having me. My name is Jackson MUCHINA Muriuki. I'm the CEO of CJEX UK Bicycle Limited. That's our company. It's just within our town, Nakuru.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, thank you, and so much welcome. I know you'll be telling us quite a lot about this, but just before we continue, because you're an investor in the county and also an investor in this particular town, and of course we've witnessed what is it that has been happening as far as this particular protests are concerned in the last now almost 1 month. Kindly, if you can draw a picture for us now that you are coming from the seat of an investor.
Yeah, I think, Mangichu, what has been happening for the last, few weeks to the investors or to the business people, it's not very pleasant. Okay. Because, of course, business thrive when there is peace. And a situation like this one will automatically affect business, will automatically affect, even the government. As you know, right now, the government is also, in a position they cannot do anything. They are not able to collect tax well. They are not able to, to charge any mandate at the moment. So the situation in our country at the moment, I think it's not the best for business people. And I can say we as business people would wish that the situation would get better or go back to where we were in terms of peace.
Sure.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're talking about the situation maybe affecting the business people, apparently maybe people don't realize some of these effects that you're talking about and how it actually even goes down to the Kenyan, just right there at the very bottom of the pyramid.
What happened is, for example, if you're a business person, every day you wake up with a hope that you're going to make profit. And one way of making profit is by opening your business and doing what you normally do. So when you're not waking up into that, it means that you are not also expecting to make profit. If you are a farmer, you wake up every day expecting to go to shamba. Some of people, where they go to do farming, probably is a distance. So when they wake up in the morning and they find there is no peace, I can assure you, activities will not be done, as expected. Some of us, we expect, to buy things from the shops, and probably they have not been provided for. So I think with this kind of situation, nobody will, business cannot be as usual. Everybody will be affected. The people who go to the factories, the people who do all kind of business, when there is no peace, I can assure you, everybody is affected. And even in church, and like the other day I saw in Nakuru, there was one of the churches that had a problem. So it means everywhere we are affected. So I think it's a call for everybody that if we could get to a situation whereby there is an understanding or we have a solution, I think that would be the best thing to all of us. Wow. Yeah.
That's very okay. Thank you so much for that and just giving us that background, even as we hope that things are actually going to do well. But let's just come back to you maybe in a nutshell.
Yes.
Your brief background in terms of maybe investing in the bicycle sector.
Yeah. Mangichu, I started business when I was still young, but this is not what I went to school for. I'm a trained journalist, and I worked in one of the stations that you are as well. I was in Sayari TV, and I raised up to the position of a manager. I've worked also with Aga FM. I was also a manager there. I worked with Truth TV, where I was a director as well. So my background, it was so much in media. And I've also been a manager of a hotel. But I had this interest in bicycles. So from when I was young, I never missed to have a bicycle. So that's what propelled me even to business, because I used to have quality bicycle, and many people could come and tell me, you know, can I get a bicycle like yours? And I could sell if you're giving me, you know, can make profit. So that's my background.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you are thinking about these, and you're having this particular dream that now this is the area that you want to invest in?
Yeah, actually, I resigned my job so that I can do bicycles.
Okay.
Because I realized I'm so good in that area. So I resigned as a manager, and I came to, you know, to start the business and to build now up the business.
Wow.
Yes.
That is awesome. Of course, you'll also be in a position to tell us, what is it like investing in Kenya, especially for the youth? Now that you're saying this is something that you started, even as you are a youth, and because we're talking about youth investments and leadership, because even what we are saying, all these protests, I think they still go down to opportunities for youth. If you were actually to advise them, if you were actually to talk with them about investments, maybe what is it? Where do you think they can begin from? You'll tell us about that and still much more. Of course, that is our guest, and of course, when you're coming back, Kag, you'll also pick up from there Bwana Jackson MUCHINA, who is the CEO of CJ EX UK. Bascal is also an entrepreneur and also an investor, of course, talking about youth investment and leadership. We want to take a short break and at this particular point, but don't go far away. There is still much more on the other side of this particular show.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Kwa flag ya Kenya kuna mnyama mgani?
Simba. Simba.
Hebu nitolee tu sauti kadogo kamlimbwende.
Hiyo nayo ni gani?
Gani!
Umati ni wa watu na mkururo
wa zebra.
Rea wari lori rule. Rea wari lori rule. Rudia mara tatu mbio mbio.
Rea wali loli luli. Rea wali loli luli. Rea wali loli luli. Rea wali loli luli.
So we don't have the capacity.
Tune in this Thursday from 7:30 to 8 in the PM katika kipindi cha Mulo Wetu as we take you through on how you can prepare your pork stir fry mixed with fries. Na so chef, napata sana kama ni stir fry, lazima tunakuwa na hizi hoho kama ni green, yellow na red hoho for stir fry.
Yeah, stir fry.
Okay. Kwa pork nimeona kile tunaanza yes mafuta kitunguu and then saini pork, alafu hizo vitu vingine sasa ndio unaziongeza juu. Okay. So chef, hapa kwa hii pork stir fry yetu, kwa hivyo hatuko tumemalizia time tuliacha. So sasa ni kuongeza zile spices. Nimeona tumeweka paprika. Na hiyo ni dark ama ni light soy sauce? Dark soy sauce. Ndio pia iweze kuongeza ile color pia. Okay. From 7:30 to 8 in the PM this Thursday.
At the Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies, TVET College, we combine theory and practice to ensure students develop unique and innovative skills that are required in today's world. RVIBS prides itself as a leader in teaching excellence and a world-class center of research and intellectual creativity. Through our innovative hub, African tech space, we nurture students' innovative ideas. As you join RVIPS, we will help you get a grip on your training and providing a personalized study environment as well as an ideal and quiet atmosphere favorable for learning. Seize the moment and grab the opportunity by applying for these market-driven and internationally recognized programs that will unlock your potential. Visit our Nakuru main campus near the railway police station or at Biashara Center, third floor, or call us on 0715 111103. You can also apply at www.rvips.ac.ke.
My name is Pasi Kihumba, the Principal Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies. I take this opportunity to thank our students, parents and supporters for this far, and I also take this opportunity to welcome you into our July and September intake. Welcome to train with us.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Very well, and you're still so much welcome to the Leadership Wednesday edition on this beautiful day, and we are glad that you are still having time to be with us even as you go about your daily activities or today's routine. And of course, just as we had mentioned, we are discussing youth investment and leadership, at a time when there is so much of this particular talk on Gen Zs in this particular nation. Definitely, I think to every right-minded Kenyan, it's all about what is it that we can do to ensure that the lives of our youth are actually made better. And therefore, we are, of course, making this particular discussion pertinent, even as we continue with this particular program. And of course, there is a question that we had put out for you. What investment opportunities do you think are available for the Kenya youth? What investment opportunities do you think are available for the Kenya youth? Kindly share with us your thoughts, your perspectives on 23814 shortcut platform. You can also catch us on our social media pages, Facebook MBCI TV, YouTube, that is MBCI TV official. We'll be glad to also see some of your aspects, some of your perspectives on this. We have a guest in the studio. That is Bwana Jackson MUCHINA. He's an entrepreneur and also the CEO, CJEX UK Bicycles, and of course trying to help us look at this particular subject from an investor's point of view. And of course, as we continue, we'll be glad to also see what your perspective is. Karibu tena. I guess just before I bring Kagi into this particular conversation, just from where you sit, for a Kenya youth who wants to invest, what do you think are just some of the basic factors to put into consideration?
For a young person who wants to invest, what I can say is that we start from where we are, because I think at times we don't have the luxury to start. And I want to cite my example that personally, I started from what I had. And I want to relate it with the Bible that says, what do you have in your hands? So I always encourage young people that little knowledge you have about business, try it from there. If you have ever sold anything, if you have an idea of something that you can sell, I think that's where you need to start. Okay. And most of people, they imagine that I need to start with a lot of money. They imagine I need to start with business always starts from very low stage. So you grow with business. So a young person who is watching us today, I would want to tell them that start from where you are. But I want to put a disclaimer. Start with God.
Start with God.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, I think that is you are a good example, and your story is very inspiring to the young people, because what is happening, the time I have interacted with young people, is that we are having a challenge with employment. Although I was interested to know whether you did your business out of love for business, or maybe you wanted to make more money. Even before we dig deeper, what really inspired you to move to business?
What I can say, I moved into business because I love business. And I could see also people who are doing business and they are making it in life. So I was inspired by one, that the people who are in business, they have freedom and they are able also to make something.
Yes.
So I think to me is that I really wanted to push my life into another level. And so I thought, if I do my business and I build my business, I'll be able to have that, I'll be able to make my business the way I want.
Right.
And as I said earlier, I was employed in many, companies at a level of manager. And so I was making those companies to succeed.
Yes.
So at one point I thought, what if I go and I do what I think I love and make it also to succeed? Yeah.
Maybe one more, because today we want to help young people there who are stuck between the career and also maybe self-employment. How would you tell that young person who is trying to struggle with his or her career, and also he is not ready to let it go? You are in your career like the way you are. Again, you feel that this career is not bringing fortunes for me, and you want to pursue other avenues of self-reliance, that is business. How would you tell that young person that you can relinquish your career and also look for other avenues in life which can give you a living? How would you tell them?
I would want to advise a young person probably who wants to, to start a business and probably they are employed or they're in a certain career, that you should know the time to quit. Okay. You should understand the time to move into business. Because the time, some business, they give us opportunities. Some employment, they give us opportunities. For example, when you're employed, probably there are people you will meet. Not because you're meeting them because because of what you have done, but it's because your boss or the company has brought them on your way. So at times it's very important that you take time also to study, to equip yourself, so that even when you're moving into business, you have connections. You have learned something.
Okay.
So I always advise young people who have, at least have an opportunity to have an employment somewhere, that it's also very important to know when to quit.
I love that.
Yeah.
And maybe finally on the same, I heard you talking about you start with what you have, or you begin from where you are, and also what you know.
Yes.
And I believe the easiest business to start for a young person, let's talk about a young person who is not employed,
yes,
who left college or school, he is at home, he needs to make a living, there are no jobs. I feel the easiest job they can make is as little as 500 or 1,000. But I also want to help the guys who don't want to go to that area or that line. Maybe the idea that you have requires a little bit of money. That the business you want to start needs you to have the license from the county government.
Yes.
It needs you to rent a house to be able to operate.
Correct.
And it needs you to buy some items that you really need some more coins to start that business. How can we help these young people? Maybe according to your own experiences, your own understanding, how can we help these young people to be able to move towards there? Especially when you're having a challenge of the capital as per the business, and they really need to do this job. Where are the avenues?
That's a very good question. Because how do we start when we don't have the capital, when probably we don't have a lot of knowledge?
Yes.
To me, I want to say where I started.
Right.
When I realized that I need to start doing business, there's something also I had done before. I had started now teaching myself on how to save.
Okay.
And in my area, in Joro, we had a group that was called Drive Youth Group. We came together as young people, and we started saving together. And some of the saving that we are doing, I think we were saving about 300 shillings, but 100 we used to call it table banking. These we used to give by the end of week. You know, we raffle for the money.
Right.
So if you have a small problem, it will solve your problem. But now there is this 200 that we used to save. It used to go to Equity Bank, and we started saving, you know, as from, you know, like 300 shillings only. And me, I was very interested in that. Actually, I was the spokesperson of the group, because I had realized from my background or where I come from, it will not be very easy for me to get resources.
All right.
So I started preparing myself with the institutions of, you know, of money, like the bank. And the only way I could introduce myself to the institutions is through the groups. So we started saving, and we could guarantee one person to get a loan.
Oh, one person.
One person.
Okay.
So the loan were not a lot of money. We used to get a loan of like 10,000. And we could guarantee, we sign all of us, and we say we have guaranteed this person to get 10,000.
Wow.
So that's how we started building ourselves. And the group went on until we could get like 50,000. So what I would want to tell a young person is that you need to be deliberate. You need to know where you're going. And I encourage young people, you know, from the Bible again. And I like using, you know, quoting the Bible, because when you quote the Bible or when you read the Bible, you'll get to know where you're supposed to be going. And the Bible says, write down your vision and make it plain.
Yeah.
As a young person, you need to know, where do you want to go? And what are the challenges? What is my background? What is this that is limiting me? So when you get to know where you're supposed to go, then from there, you start now solving problems. Like me, I knew very well that I'll never get money as a capital.
Okay.
So I started equipping myself with a group. And from the group now, I could now start fighting what was, you know, looking like will limit me by getting loans. So I think it is very, very important for a young person to start now solving problems of their lives. And I want to go back a little bit, because we don't start solving problems of our lives when we have grown. Some of the problems will be solved by our parents. The Bible says, teach a child in the ways of God,
Yes.
and when they grow up,
They will follow that.
they will follow them.
Correct.
What I can say I inherited from my parent is honesty. I got honesty from my father. My father taught me how to be honest. And he also taught me to work hard. And I also inherited from my mother to rely on the Bible. Those are two things that I picked from my parents.
Yes.
That's where we start. Because when you are honest, it is very easy for people to trust you. When you are hardworking, it is very easy for people to come through for you. And when you have faith, it is very easy now to push your dream to another level. So I think it should start from, from when we are bringing up our children. What is this that we are giving them? Because tomorrow will not be with them. What can they say that I inherited from my parent? I know some people, they inherited cars, yes, big farms, and even companies. But some of us who did not have those privileges, what is that we inherited? And if we did not inherit, what is that that we can cultivate in our lives that is will help us tomorrow? So to me, I think every young man should be deliberate.
Away from being deliberate, I think what I can also pick from you,
yes,
the way you have towards your journey towards that business, the aspect of patience is also very key.
Sure.
Because, for example, when you are saving that money, 300 shillings, and then you are doing the table banking, 10,000 to every individual, you move to 50,000. I don't believe it was a 1 month activity.
No.
It was a little bit a journey.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's
so
time.
Patient for our young people. They should be told that you need to be patient, and I add your word, and deliberate to reach to where you are. Because fact be told, Mangicho, that we are experiencing the unemployment challenges in our nation. And somebody must come and tell our young people the truth. Even the government might come to tell our young people the same. I think also the issue of enlightening our young people the way you are doing it here in our institutions where they study, in their colleges, is very, very key. Because unless we teach them, away from now the books, entrepreneurship, or that kind of things, they are more academic. We need to come out as institutions and to give them the real life experiences.
I like what you're saying. This is very important. It's called mentorship.
Right.
And that's what we are missing. And I can tell you, our country has been messed by what we call mentorship. Nobody is prepared to mentor. And even those who are mentoring, they are not mentoring the way it's supposed to be. They are not telling the truth.
Yes.
They want to sugarcoat things. They want to make us, hear what we want to hear. But mentorship in every institution should be there. And now I want to bring in the church. And I have a problem with the church, because that should be where we are mentored. The church should mentor my father, so that my father will come and mentor me. But if you tell my father that you shall receive a car, and you don't tell them they should work hard, that's what they'll tell me when I'm young.
True.
So I think mentorship should be a reality in our nation. Two, there is another challenge that I'm realizing in our nation, that people celebrate things that should not be celebrated. If you go to your phone today, what people are showing and what will attract a lot of people is when somebody is dancing, probably without clothes. That's what will attract people.
Yes.
But what if Kenyans would change their mind and they start celebrating people who are at the farm? Young man working hard at the farm. Young man trying to do business with Mukokoteni in town. Because we are creating a notion whereby it's like life should be very good. And then we are forgetting there is that point of being mentored. There is that point of starting. And today many people who will want to associate with me, I can assure you, 10 years back they could not.
Correct.
Because I was not where I am today. At that time, I carry bicycle, I clean my own bicycle. I'm not clean, I'm dirty, I'm making things to work. But today, when I wear a tie, they will say, I want to do that business. I want to be like CJ. So we need to draw a line.
Yeah.
We need to ask ourselves, where are we coming from? Where do we want to start? What do we need to tell our children? What do we need to tell the young people? And I can assure you, if we tell them the right thing, tomorrow we'll have a very beautiful Kenya.
Absolutely. Maybe just Kangi, before you come up with that particular point, my director wants to give us that particular segment where we also interact with our reporter on the streets to also find out what Kenyans also think and their perspectives on investment and the business opportunity, the business environment in the country. Let's have a look at what they have prepared for us.
Majina yako alafu utatuambia, je, unadhani vijana wanajihusisha katika biashara, na kama hawajihusishi ni nini ambayo inawasababisha hawataki kujihusisha katika biashara? Je, ni kwa sababu ni kazi ngumu, ni kazi ya kujitolea, ama kuna mambo kama gani? Na wasia wako kwao kuhusu biashara ni nini?
First of all, there are a number of factors that contribute to youth not able to engage themselves in business, and one of the major factor is lack of capital. And to get capital to start a business, there are some means that you have to either have some savings, or you go to the bank, or you borrow from your friends. Now, if you go to the banks, they don't have the credit history that the bank can maybe extend credit facility. So you find that most of them, they don't have that capital. Another factor that contribute is lack of experience in business, because business, it pays slowly. You have to put a lot of energy. You have to put a lot of experience, because maybe, for example, if you are to have a business like this that I'm doing, that is sale of shoes and clothes, you need to know where you will get the goods, how they are going to reach your destination, and how you are going to make profit from it. So there is a lot of experience that is needed, and most of our youth, they don't have that experience. And that is one thing that maybe the government can focus in trying to educate them. Then another factor is currently the environment of doing business is not conducive, because you find that people, they don't have that purchasing power, and if they don't have the purchasing power, they only think of the basic needs. That is food, sometimes clothing, but that capital to do buying, then it becomes a problem. So since they are not able to get that income, and most of them, they want money that is, they get it quickly, so they don't have that patience to wait. So then the cost of the business premises is also a factor, as well as nearness to customers, because it's also a factor. You can't go and keep business maybe far away from your customers, and if you are to get it right near to the where the customers are, then the cost of that the cost of the shop itself, then it's a discouraging factor. So those are a number of the reasons to why youth are not engaging in business. Now, what is my advice to them? If you look at the statistics themselves, the government employs less than 15%. Then the SMEs, that is where we have the biggest chunk of employment. And we don't need to wait for the government, for example, to get job from them. They can indulge in business. Though a factor such as lack of capital is a hindrance, they can maybe borrow from their parents who have some money, and maybe they can get some experience from those who have those shops by maybe, for example, getting employment from them, so that they are able to build on the experience, the knowledge, then they can have theirs. So it's not all gone. they need to have some patience and get some business, because business sometimes it pays. Yeah, and then even understanding the seasons. For example, there is a business of clothes and shoes. It's seasonal. So if you don't have that understanding to know that it is seasonal, such that there are some months that you'll get business is up, then business is down, then they will be discouraged. So for me, I can tell them, apart from maybe getting employment from the government, they also need to do something such as getting these skills of doing business. Also, record keeping is also part of knowing how to get, maybe you are able to know how to get profit or even loss. You can have a balance sheet, you can have a trade and loss account. So there are a lot of things that they need to understand.
Nimeji self-employed. So what I do, nafanya mini hairstylist. So that is what I do. And I think it's not a must uajiriwe or something. You can find something within yourself. This is something you can do. Tafuta kitu unezo kafanya within yourself. Ni nini unezo kafanya? What is your talent? What can you do best? It's not a must uajiriwe. So find kitu yenye inakumotivate. Ukiona like hakuna job opportunities, try to do something else. Chukua maybe 200. There are jobs unaweza anza na less capital. Chukua 200, buy matunda, zungusha, unapata profit, right? Chukua hiyo 200, buy mayai, unapata profit, right? Umekuwa self-employed. So the only thing you can do ni you keep on pushing. Usifail. At some point it's hard. Ni ngumu ukianza, but you just have to keep going, and that is the only way you can become successful. That is the only way. Failing. Yeah. Watu wengi wanaogopa loss na kufail when they are starting business. Unaona like, what if nianze alafu ianguke? Nitaanza aje tena? But that is part of the process. Like you have to go through that. So that is zinyondo nafikiria ndo fear yenye youths wako nayo sana.
Kwa sababu kwa upande moja ama nyingine kijana anaweza kosa maarifa ya vile anaweza akaanza, lakini kupitia kwa msingi ambao anaweza pata kutoka kwa wazazi ama jamii kwa jumla ama kupitia kwa government yetu, anaweza kosa kusimama. Na sitaka kumaanisha nini? Iwapo katika hali ya kuingia kwenye biashara, lazima kijana aweze kuwa na capital ya kuanzia ile biashara, kwa sababu biashara ni capital. Na capital hupatikana kwa njia ambayo ni mtoto ama yule kijana kushikwa mkono na wakubwa wake na kuonyeshwa wapitia hapa ukaweza kupata njia.
Mimi kwenye nitaweza kuadvise vijana, nina advise vijana wafanye kazi lolote ambayo wataweza pata mbele yao kuliko kuchagua kazi. Kwa sababu utaweza chagua ufikirie unataka kazi ya serikali, na saa hii kazi ya serikali hata ninaona hata wenye wanasoma saa hii hawana kazi. Wengi wanajiunga kwa kazi ya biashara. Mimi napenda biashara kwa sababu hii biashara ukianza ukiwa kijana, hakuna siku ile utasema umesoeka kama mimi unaenda retire. Utafanya hiyo biashara yako uendeleze nayo paka siku ile wewe mwenyewe utasikia umekaa vizuri. Napenda biashara ni mzuri. Na hakuna mtu atakusumbua. Sasa hilo napenda kuingia kwa kazi yako utaingia.
Kwanza mimi nafurahia vijana kujihusisha kwa biashara kwa sababu mimi nilianza biashara nikiwa kijana mdogo. Na vile biashara imenifikisha mpaka nimekuwa na mji wangu, niko na watoto wamesoma na pia wengine wako nikumaliza wanamaliza shule. Sasa venye kama sikukuwa kwa biashara, siwezi furahia nikisema vijana wasiingie kwa biashara kwa sababu pesa watatoa wapi? Na ukipata biashara ndio mtu anapapanua mafikirio na pia unapotea kwa mawazo ambaye ni mbaya. Kwa sababu sasa ile unakaa bila biashara unaharibu maisha yako kwa sababu unafikiria mambo mabaya ambaye iwezi kukubudu maisha na nchi iwezi endelea, na watakuwa wakipata kitu inaitwa plan ambaye itaendelesha maisha. Kwa sababu sasa ukienda kwa biashara, ukipata pesa, unaenda unanunua kama ni gari, hii gari itaweza kusaidia, utaanza kubeba watu. Na hiyo kubeba watu tena utapata pesa, ambazo ukibeba watu utanunua nyumba yako ya kukaa. Pia hapo utafungua nyumba ambayo utafanyia biashara. Kwa hivyo baka familia, baka watoto ambaye unaye, baka mama watoto sasa, atakuwa hata yeye amepanuka kimafikirio na itakuwa furaha nyumbani.
Welcome back. Of course, that is our segment where we also give you an opportunity to interact with what Kenyans also think about this particular subject of discussion. And of course, Kagi, you've seen what Kenyans are also thinking.
Yeah,
just because before you come with that point, and also our guest, Jack MUCHINA, you've watched what Kenyans are thinking. But there is this one issue that I've picked, which I would also like you to contribute on, where we have what we call the fear of failure. And the fear of loss when you are beginning an investment or when maybe you're beginning a particular business. How do you look at this particular matter? Did you have an experience with this, or maybe for you, as far as your bicycle business is concerned, it was starting and hitting the road and you just got the breakthrough right then?
What I would say, everybody will fear to fail. But the Bible says that I have not given you the spirit of fear, but the spirit of power and even the sound mind. So to me, what I would want to encourage people is that even if you think you're going to fail, you cannot say you will not start. Because it's by starting and by failing, you get to know where you're going. So if we don't fail, then we'll never know the mistakes that we make in life.
Sure.
So failing is part of life. Actually in business, failing is part of business. People open business, it doesn't work very well, they realize it was not good, and then they open another. So what I can...
there is no problem with failing in business.
There is no problem in failing. Yes. But again, there's something that young lady said, that do what you think is good.
Okay.
Because at times, we pick something that we are not passionate about it. So what you're not passionate in, definitely you not give it more time.
Yes.
But do you know, there are things we do not even for making money. We do them because it's a hobby.
Okay.
And you find, when you do what you love, even if you fail, even if you did not get money, tomorrow you wake up to do it. So where do we draw the power or the energy to do what we do? It's because what we are doing is what we like. And I always encourage people, do not do a business that you don't like. I mean, there are people who don't want noise.
Okay.
Don't go to the market because automatically their noise will be there.
Yeah.
There are people who don't like, different things. There are people who even have phobia with height. So you cannot pick a business, to...
Unapanda mahali juu.
Yes. So I think, let us do what we like.
Okay.
And I said, to me, even before I had started doing a business of bicycles, I loved bicycles. Even today, I love bicycles. I'll always tell you all types of bicycles. And if I see somebody actually riding a bicycle, if I'm driving my car, I'll cover them. I'll go behind them. I'll cover them. And I realize, my wife is like, no, we are supposed to drive and I'm behind this person who is riding. So bicycle is my passion. Yes. I love bicycles. And from when I was young, I used to love bicycles. Okay. So I picked an area that I love. So because I know bicycles, I can always have quality bicycles because I know all the parts of the bicycles. So I think you should pick where you love.
Very well.
And I think when you pick what you like, there is no chance of fear.
True.
Because of course you're doing what you like. And you learn more because you are interested.
Yes.
You'll study. To the things that we love, we go, we go beyond. We study. We enjoy doing them. So I think if you are able to identify what you like, and that's what happens in other nations. And if you go to, and I was telling somebody, when I visit UK, At times they even ask me, why do you need all this knowledge that you have? Because I'll tell them about history, I'll tell them about geography, I'll tell them, this is supposed to be there. I have a lot of knowledge that they don't even think that I need. With them, they know what they are supposed to do. Somebody picked the job of the father. They don't have a lot of knowledge away from that. But what they know, I can assure you, if they start there and start presenting about what they do, you love it.
Wow.
They know it inside out.
And there is one thing that you had said when a CEO,
yes.
Honesty, and this is a virtue that you are taught. And apparently we are living in a society where most people believe that the virtue of honesty is fast fading. How do you survive in an environment where it is strange, or some people think it is strange to be honest?
I would want to take this a little bit serious and tell a young person who is there, or any business person who is there, if you are not honest, forget about business. And if you are not thinking to work towards being honest, business is not your area. Business requires you to be honest 100%. Because if I'm bringing my goods, you need to trust me that whatever I brought, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So if you are going to the institution, I've heard somebody say the biggest challenge of young people to start a business is capital. Now, if you come from a humble background, where do you think you're going to get the capital? It's only somebody who can trust you and help you.
Yes.
And how do they trust you if you're not honest? So, honesty is a very important virtue for everybody, for anybody who wants to excel in life. And this is something that people need to be taught. And that's why he was talking about mentorship.
True.
That we need to sit down and mentor our children, not like we live with them forever, but we know we are presenting them to the society. So when we mentor, we need to know, if I call my child Kababa, Kamam, and give them whatever they want, will the world call them that?
Not at all.
The world expects them to be serious people who can be trusted and who can do business. Or when they are given an assignment, they can complete the assignment without complaining. So there are some of these things that we do to our people, to our young people. And we need to ask ourselves, beyond our home, where else can they present what we have taught them?
Wow. Correct. Yeah, the issue of honesty is key, as we have said, and those who have done business can attest to that. But because we have dealt with how to start the business as a young person, and the issue of honesty has come in very strongly, think of a young man who has just begun his or her business today, or is planning to start a business tomorrow.
Yeah.
And because you have been in that area, maybe someone is wondering, now, how do I make it in this business now? Because I'm in it now. I need to examine in this business. What could be some of the small or major mistakes young people do and they fail, or might do and fail in line with operating their own businesses?
Thank you. Okay, that's a good question, because most of young people, that's where they are failing.
Yeah.
That they don't know what to do and what not to do, the do's and don'ts.
Right.
One, when you are starting a business, you need to identify what is this that I'm going to trade. You need to know the commodity. And I tell people, business is solving a problem. You need to identify a need. Then you come in and solve that need. So you need to be very strategic and understand the particular area that you want to start a business.
Yes.
That the people of this area, probably they don't get mangoes. Because mangoes will have to go all the way to Kamba side, Ukambani, and bring them. So if you bring your mangoes here, of course, if there is a need of mango, that's a good business. So I think we need to identify, a young person who is starting a business should have that ability to identify a need.
Wow.
When you identify a need, now you need to ask yourself, how now do I execute my plan? And we are talking about a young person who doesn't have money. Probably you have identified the need of people within this area is that these people, they don't get, a certain commodity. You need to realize, if you don't have money, where can I get the money? Who is this person who can trust me and give me money? When you go asking for money, you cannot ask for a lot of money.
Right.
Because who will trust you with a lot of money? Probably you have identified a need of mangoes. We take mango as an example. People need 4 tracts of mangoes in Nakuru. Nobody will ever give you that money. You can start small. Buy 1 gunia.
Wow.
Ask for money for 1 gunia.
Which can be easily available.
Which can be easily available. So, when you are asking, you need also to be very careful that you don't, discourage the people that you are asking or where you are asking the resources. The next thing you need to identify is the location. And most of people, they have businesses, and when I go to their businesses, I'm like, these people, they are not very calculative. Because you have your business that is very hidden and there is no traffic. So how do you expect people to know that you are there? So you need to strategize or to know, where do I put my business? The location is very important. You need to do a business where there is people. And that's why our business is in the CBD. And if you look at our business, we have a display which is next to the road, but we have our go down. We did that because we realized if we put our bicycle in the go down, people might never see them. So we needed to do that is true. Yes. So we needed to do a display whereby everybody can pass and see the bicycles, and they are like, I would want a bicycle. Visibility. So young people should know this thing. They should know that we need to know the location. We need to solve a need, and even how to solve a need. The other thing that young people should know is, how do you package yourself?
Very good.
In terms of how you present yourself, are you presentable enough? Do you appeal before people? For example, there's some business that you'll do and your presentation will put people down. And when I say this, I want to be very careful. Some years back, I could never put the color that you see here. Do you know why? I know the judgment that comes with people. And at that time, I really needed them even to give me their money. And I don't want to present myself and they are like, this guy. So, as a young man, there are things that you do.
So the first impression is very
important. The first impression. Right. The way you present yourself is very important. There are things that probably you would want to look in a certain way. You can do it when you have money. Or when you have established yourself. Nobody will judge you. Sure. But there are things when you are very young, you need to know how to present yourself. So presentation is very important. As you said, the impression that you create in people's mind is very important. The other thing is, when you're talking also about packaging, how do you present your goods? For example, you are selling maembe. Do you package them? How do you present them to the people? And nowadays, people are very keen in what we call branding. People will do a very nice packaging and then brand the package. So as a young person, you should understand that what will attract people is presentation. So how you're presenting what you have, it's also very, very important.
Wow.
Absolutely. And of course, one more thing, Bwana CEO, and I know this is also something that maybe we have a lot of the youth in this particular country talking about. When it comes to the infrastructure, the environment that the government has provided for business to thrive, for young men to thrive. We are living at times maybe when we are talking about high taxations, and maybe so many people believe that maybe this is really putting so many of our youth out of business. How do we go about this?
I think on that, I want to also request the government that, and I said, we talked about mentorship. The government is an institution that need to mentor people.
True.
So how do you mentor our young people to get into business? So the government should create an environment of young people to do business. And I think I want to commend this government. When they came, they had small loans. You remember?
No.
Where you used to do a small loan with a phone, then you return.
Hustler
fund. I think that was I really loved that system. The only thing that I did not like is the name. I did not like the name hustler, because the Bible says that we should confess positively. You should not call yourself. The Bible says, let the weak say they are strong, let the poor say they are rich. So it's not good for us to call ourselves hustlers. And even in the nation, and I always tell people that it's not good to call ourselves hustlers. Let us not identify with that problem. Because the Bible does not encourage us to do that. And if you look at the other nations, like if you go to UK, they call themselves Great Britain. If you go to US, they call themselves the great United States of America.
And the superpower.
And the superpower. So what we say also affects what we will become. So I think that's why it could not work very much, because of the name.
There is a power in the name.
There is the power in the name. So that was a very good way of the government encouraging young people. But again, don't tell them to call themselves hustler. Don't tell them to call themselves, let them know that we are just directors, we are this. It's only in waiting. Let's tell our people that tomorrow they are going to become.
Yes.
And I'll never sit down with young people and demean them. I'll never sit down with young people and remind them they are young, they are not responsible. When I sit with young people, I tell them, you are the CEO or director of tomorrow. What word can you advise me with? And I'm giving them the challenge to start thinking about the future. So I think the government should create a good environment for business. One is by encouraging institutions to give a lower rate of loans. And you remember the government of Kibaki, when it came in, one of the things they did, they reward. I think it's the government of interest. Interest. They reward the interest. And that was very good to us as business people. The other thing is, there are many things that people are asked, the collaterals and all that. I think we need to have a way, when young people are coming from the university, we have already mentored them and asking them, what are you going outside there to do? And because I know in the situation we give people loans to study, why not extend the loan to do business?
Nice one.
If you can give somebody 100,000 to study, why not, when they are coming from the university, you ask them, we have mentored you. You said you can do 1, 2, 3. We are giving these amount of money.
You start somewhere.
Absolutely. If I was the person who is advising the government, I'll tell them, let us have even holding. You finish fourth year in the university, we hold you for 1 more year. Not now in the university, outside monitoring you, what are you doing with our money?
Absolutely. Hold on a little bit, Bwana CEO. Just before we wind up, I know you're pressed for time, but just before you wind up on that, and maybe your call also for the youth, we want to have a look at that particular segment where we bring you a constituency and just familiarize yourself with it, know your constituency, and let's see where we are going today on this particular segment of Know Your Constituency. Yes, and I think it is there on the screen. Today we are moving all the way to Nyando constituency. Nyando constituency, and of course we have a few highlights about Nyando constituency. It is an electoral constituency in Kenya and established in 1963. It is in Kisumu County. Elections, current MP there is Hon Okello Jared Odoyo. That is the current member of parliament, Hon Okello Jared Odoyo. Previous members of parliament for Nyando constituency: 1963 Okuto Bala, 1966 Okuto Bala, 1969 we had Tom Ogalo Ogada. Then 1974, Matthew C. Onyango Midika. 1979, Matthew C. Onyango Midika. 1983, Tom Ogalo Ogada. Then in 1988, we had James Miruka Award. That is in 1988. Okay, then we have a few words there. East Kano, Wawidhi, Awaso, Onjiko, Ahero, Kobura, Kabonyo, and Kanyagwal. Those are the words that we find in this particular constituency, that is Nyando constituency. Those are the words that are available for this particular constituency. Main economic activity there, we have rice farming, of course, oilseed farming, fishing, and livestock rearing. So those are the economic activities that we find in Nyando constituency. Yes, Kagi, that is Nyando.
It's an old constituency, but
Sure.
has not really produced some vocal and prominent members of parliament. Maybe in future we'll have them.
Absolutely. I know we just have like 2 minutes, Bwana CEO, but you've given us a very, very good talk. Maybe in a minute, what would be your appeal to the Kenyan youth? Even as you just to interrupt, and why should Kenyans ride bicycles?
Yeah, the Bible in the book of John says, "I write to you, fathers, because you have known him." Down there it says, "I write to you, young people, because you have overcome the evil one." And young people, especially at this time, we are talking about Gen Zs. This is a verse to you, that I write to you, young people, because you have overcome the evil one. But I want us to look at the evil one, not only in terms of the government, but there are many evil that comes in our lives. One of evils is things that are unfair, like, lack of capital. And the Bible knows that very well you can overcome that. So today I want to encourage a young man who is there, that you have the ability to overcome lack. You have the ability to overcome everything that is hindering you to succeed. But as we have agreed today is that you also need to be deliberate. You need to know where you are going. And we agreed that you will not start alone, you will also start with God. And I gave you a verse of the Bible that says, write down your vision. So if I meet with a young man, I would want to ask them, what is your vision? What have you written down about your life, about your business? As for us, we are doing CJ EXUK bicycles, and maybe what I can tell people is that our bicycles are good, and we are giving people value for money. And we are looking on ways how we can make this even better. And our company right now is identifying the people, they can partner with, so that we give our customers a bicycle that is very good for African terrain. So that's where we are, identifying, people who can do quality, because even the bicycles that we see all over the world, they have not been made for our terrain. And we understand our terrain better than any other person.
Wow.
So we are looking forward to start our own bicycle that will be called CJ bicycle.
Manufacturing.
To be manufactured here in Kenya, so that we can also create job opportunities.
I didn't see that coming. I do.
Yes.
One of these days you'll find me coming to
we'll compete with you.
Thank you so much, Jackson MUCHINA, the CEO, CJEX UK Bicycles. We really appreciate your insights and even very, very good advice to the young generation, especially during this time when they are the subject of discussion in the country.
Thank you so
and
much.
Just before we bring it to a stop, let's see our leadership quote for the day. Leadership quote for the day, it goes like this: the task of the leader is to get people from where they are to where they've not been. The task of the leader is to get people from where they are to where they have not been. Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger.
Nice one.
Nice one, of course.
Yeah.
Wow, and that is, of course, we bring it to a close for today. Thank you so much. Many, many thanks for making time to be with us on the Leadership Wednesday show. As usual, we are very, very glad, and we also continue to encourage you to play your part, to contribute on making our country better and better. My name is Mangicho Mola. We'll see you again next week, the same place. Have a blessed afternoon.
Yes, Paul Kagi, my name. To every young person, I wish you a blessed day ahead. And on Friday, Men Matters Friday. God bless.